Hello and welcome back once again to After the Credits. So first off, I'd like to apologize for the lack of the Halloween episode this year. I know normally I do a product placement on Halloween, but this year a couple different things stopped me from doing that. One, the few items that I found to do for product placement, I'm pretty sure I already did before and I didn't really have time to double check before it came up to know whether or not I had done them before. Secondly, like I said, money's been a little tight for me lately, so I kind of have to cut back on product placements for a while. There's probably 4 or 5 things I'd love to do right now that I just can't really afford to do. So because of the lack of the product placement Halloween special this year, I thought I would do an after the credits of more of a horror movie, I guess, instead. But unfortunately, there weren't very many horror movies playing right now. The closest thing I could find was a prequel to Ouija, which is Ouija Origins of Evil, I believe is the subtitle. So I was going to go see that the night before Halloween and put it up as the Halloween review and actually push the Jack Reacher review forward, which would have ended up putting it on the date that it ended up airing anyway. However, the reason you didn't see anything on Halloween was because I unfortunately had a death in the family, and that kind of took precedence over doing any videos for that day. So, unfortunately I didn't get a chance to go to the theater and watch Ouija, the Origins of Evil, and do the review on it for Halloween. So instead, I'm doing it now because I finally got around to seeing it. And honestly, based on the first one, I honestly kind of wish I had skipped this one. But at the same time, I kept hearing everyone say how much better it was than the first one, so I figured I would give it a shot, but it's not better than the first one. Honestly, it's everything that was in the first one, just 30 years earlier, I guess. I know I never got around to doing the review for the first one because it's one of the ones that I ended up missing the year that it came out. I have since watched it, and I remember 45 minutes into the movie sitting there thinking, okay, we're halfway through this film and absolutely nothing has happened yet. Honestly, this one, kind of the same thing. You end up halfway through the movie, you're like, okay, is anything going to actually happen in this movie? And by the end of it, still nothing happened. You get the one little confrontation at the end, just like in the first one. It's non-eventful. It barely has any real jump scares in it. It doesn't really try for any jump scares. Like the 1 or 2 that it does try for are really weak and telegraphed and predictable, even more so than in the first one. And yeah, it just kind of falls flat as far as a horror movie. It's not even really suspenseful. All the mystery of it is pretty much open and closed. There's no really how did this happen type of thing. And honestly, from what I remember the first one, this one doesn't 100% match the origin of what was explained in the first film. For those of you who remember the first film, and for those of you who don't, spoilers, the main girl of the film goes to talk to a woman in a nursing home, and she's told the story of what happened in the past, which is basically what this movie is visually seeing what happened in the past. But the way things play out aren't what was originally told to the girl in the first film, so it's almost like they started writing the sequel and then, forgot what they had said as their origin story, so then, midway through, they're like, oh crap, this doesn't match at all what we said in the first one. We have to recompose everything to make it match. And then, the last 10 minutes just takes this really odd turn of, okay, we have to fit this, and this in to make this movie match the origin story that we laid out in the first film. And it's just really shoehorned in and just really doesn't make a lot of sense in the overall scheme of things, I guess. At least not to me. Yeah, this one wasn't any better than the first one. It wasn't any worse than the first one. It was basically the exact same story of the first one, but it's the previous story that's recanted through the old lady in the nursing home. Without spoiling the whole thing, there ain't really much more I can say about it than that. So what would I give it as far as a star rating? 2, I guess? Honestly, I should probably rate it lower than that because the film was completely uneventful, but at the same time, it's well enough paced that you don't really notice how fast the time went by. I kind of figured right around the 45-minute mark that it had been 45 minutes. I'm like, okay, so this should be about halfway over now, right? And glance at the clock, yep, halfway over. And then right around, what seemed like only a few minutes later, you're like, okay, what is it, about 20 minutes left? Yep, about 20 minutes left. Had this movie been more poorly paced, it probably would have seemed like a 5-hour movie as opposed to an hour and a half. In turn, it ends up seeming like about an hour and 15 minutes, even though it's about an hour and 35. So, yeah, the pacing's about the only thing that really saves this movie from being any lower. It could have been a lot more boring than what it was, but at the same time, it's still a boring film because nothing happens in the film. The story is non-climactic, it's non-eventful, it's non-suspenseful. It's just not a good movie. Don't go see it. If you like the first one, then watch it. You'll probably like it. If you didn't like the first one, this one isn't better. Forget what you've heard other critics say online. It's not better. It's the exact same frickin' movie. So yeah, that's my review of Ouija 2, Ouija Origins of Evil, whatever the hell it's called. As always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Links are in the description. And until next time, I'll see you after the credits.